The Expedition system is still months ahead of us, but recently developers unveiled more details about this massive free DLC. Let me guide you through dozens of the Pitt developer codes. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. In this Dev Explains, I will cover some of the latest official news about the upcoming The Pitt Expeditions, which includes details about the new areas of the Pit, as well as a new boss, repeatable no-timed content, and possibly even a new currency, still Ingots. The information you are about to see was all retrieved from Bethesda's official Discord server, as well as gaming media, so these sort of leaks are very trustworthy, I would say. Also, if you are not up to date with Expeditions, you might want to check my latest overview with data mine details from update 34, Test Your Metal. Lastly, expect spoilers ahead for this one. With that being said, let's get started, shall we? The Expedition system is going to be a huge, massive feature according to Bethesda. After all, it will expand the 76 world and allow players to explore way beyond Appalachia. It will also introduce lots of new stuff, such as missions, rewards, gear, and even a new boss. But how massive will it be exactly? According to the lead level design Steve, the Pit is a huge initiative, and the majority of the Austin team has been working on Expeditions. Wow, that sounds like we are talking about a huge project. The last time the entire Austin team worked together for 76 content was to create Nuclear Winter, if I'm not mistaken, and that was a really huge game mode, before it got retired, of course. Moreover, Steve also said the team is focused in not overpromising and under-delivering, which is exactly the concept we had with the roadmap for 2022. Perhaps for the first time ever, the contents there will be achieved in its fullest and without delays. That's the dream come true, and now with the Double 11 partnership on board, it might actually end up happening, and that's a really positive thing in my opinion. The next official revelations I have for you is also big news. For a long while, most of us thought the upcoming Pit would most likely be a replica or appear very similar to the locations found in Fallout 3 The Pit DLC. But it seems like we have been wrong all along, and to be honest with you, that makes perfect sense. After all, the timeline of 76 and Fallout 3 are about 150 years apart, so it's not shocking to know that the upcoming Pit will unlock new areas, brand new districts of Pittsburgh, which have never been featured in the Fallout franchise before. Well, that's exciting news, plus the Pit is a huge place. There's plenty of city districts to choose from. Now, that doesn't mean any of the old districts won't come back. Perhaps some will, but they will most likely look very different from Fallout 3's version 150 years back. Anyway, according to the lead level design Steve, Bethesda is going to bring back some iconic styles from the previous Pit locations, as well as brand new ones. So let's wait and see what have they been creating for us. I would bet on more residential areas, as well as a main outpost for the Pit Raiders and the Union, a new friendly faction, and of course some industrial sites. It's the Pit after all, but that's just me using logic to make predictions, so let's move to the next point. Did you know the Pitt Expeditions will come with a new boss? I mean, it was to be somewhat expected, but until this point, I had never heard of such detail. However, it seems to be true, just like the Nuka World on Tour DLC, scheduled for winter 2022, where the Ultrasite Abomination will join the Wasteland to become the third Nuked World boss, part of a new public event. That's right, if you want to learn more about Nuka World, you can check this overview with everything we know so far. Now, what about the Pit boss? Well, very little is known right now. There is nothing in the game files, and I only found a few codes on this one, both from design director Mark Tucker. In an interview to NME last month, Tucker revealed that a new region boss would be part of the Pit without any further details. Then in this other interview to the gaming Boulevard, Tucker went a bit further and talked about a new raider boss of the Pit, who supposedly has discovered a cure for mutations plaguing the area. I sense a plot twist here and a very intriguing storyline coming up to the new mission. Expeditions. But now the question is, will it be a real boss, like a world boss, or will it be a mission one-time only boss, or even some sort of region daily ops boss? I really hope it's the first option, but then again, it's new content, so any possibility here sounds better than the alternative, no boss at all, don't you think? If you played Fallout 3, you surely remember how iconic steel ingots were. A huge part of the story revolved around this precious metal. In fact, players could even deliver steel ingots to a specific NPC in exchange for rare, unique rewards, such as the bombshell armor or the tribal power armor. The rewards list was pretty decent, with 10 in total as shown, which makes me believe Bethesda is planning to create something similar for 76. Why do I think that? Well, that's because lead level design Steve talked a bit about steel ingots and the pit not too long ago. I quote, "What kind of experience would the pit be without steel ingots?" Well, that's a good question, isn't it? That's a straight giveaway for me, but shortly after that post, he also said something else which is contradictory. He said he did not claim the pit is getting steel ingots, he just said, quote, "The pit would be super stupid and dumb without steel ingots." Well, I'm quite sure steel ingots will return one way or the other. In fact, I would risk to say steel ingots and an attached rewards pool will come with the pit this fall, but only time will tell us more. Lastly, I also spotted this other post where Steve says players will probably care about other currencies when the pit gets released, which is another dead giveaway that at least one new currency is coming soon. In my latest The Pit overview video, I unveiled some of the upcoming new missions and features, which includes pause and resume options never before seen in 76. But now, besides data mine evidence, we also have official word on this one. According to the developer Steve, Expeditions will be repeatable content, which is not time-gated. I guess we can fill up the gaps on this one. The non-time gate obviously refers to the pause and resume options, which will allow players to progress and complete their expeditions at their own pacing, even across multiple play sessions or days, as they prefer. As for the repeatable content, I'm assuming players will be able to redo any expeditions they want, and perhaps there will be a bunch of settings to make them more dynamic and less tedious. Maybe things like area or difficulty. I think I saw that before in one of the interfaces, so expect something alike. Moreover, according to the design director Mark Tucker, Expeditions will contain single player and multiplayer content, and it will focus on mission-based storyline, such as a background history on the Trogs. Well, that sounds really exciting. I think we are heading towards a different concept of daily operations. Thanks goodness. And that is beautiful, especially since Expeditions were looking a little bit like Daily Ops 2.0 at the very start, but right now I don't think it is anymore, and that's promising. Same region, same city, different timeline, and different assets. That's right everyone, Bethesda is not going to use any of the old Fallout 3 assets for the pit, even though we are revisiting the same location, and there's plenty of reasons for that. First, because the games are over a decade apart and they use a different engine, so for starters it would be very difficult to salvage or import anything at all. And secondly, it's not like things would look the exact same 150 years back, so it's expected that Bethesda has been creating brand new assets for the upcoming region/map. Now, according to the lead level design Steve, the 76 pit will be more visually compelling and it will look completely different from Appalachia and the existing elements we have so far. That makes sense, especially since they are aiming to deliver a more dark and dangerous experience, as you will find out in detail later on. Now, not everything will be brand new and different with the 76 pit. In fact, Steve explained that the team is really excited to bring back several fan favorite elements of the pit. I'm assuming he's referring to iconic stuff like Trogs or the somewhat confirmed steel ingots. I think he is, but it could be anything else really. You know, elements that helped shape the Fallout pit as we know it 150 years later in Fallout 3. There has to be a bridge between both stories, both worlds. The pit of Fallout 3 is the future and the 76 the pit is the past, so it's not like both are independent, separate worlds, nothing like that. Lastly, Steve also said they are excited to bring back and expand upon the lore of such fan-favorite elements, which means we will probably learn more about the city and how did it become the Fallout 3 Pitt we know for over a decade. Talking about assets and different elements, Bethesda has confirmed that the new Pitt will present a brand new environment, completely different from Appalachia, and a high level of visual fidelity to the real Pittsburgh. In fact, Steve claimed the arts team is killing it with the environment, and they are spending a huge amount of time developing it properly. Moreover, he also said players are probably not expecting to see such levels of visual fidelity. That made me really curious about what's coming. Anyhow, it seems the detail is the keyword for the upcoming Pitt. I also found this short quote where Mark Tucker talks about the level of detail they are going for with their first expedition. They are going as far as replicating the typical fire hydrant found in the Pittsburgh city. Wow, that's a true touch of authenticity, don't you think? Alright, now that we know a little bit more about what's coming, I have a curiosity for you. Why the Pitt? Why would Bethesda choose to revisit an old franchise location? Well, according to the design director Mark Tucker, they want the first expedition to be dark and gritty, with a sense of danger, and the Pitt checked all the boxes perfectly. Plus, it's always interesting to revisit a location rather familiar and already part of the Fallout franchise. According to Tucker, it's fun to bring back elements and things which are familiar and popular among fans, such as drugs, and honestly, I couldn't agree more with Tucker on this one, especially if they are going to add new areas as well and new elements, which has somewhat been confirmed. So it's like merging old with new, and I think it's going to be a very refreshing experience, to say the least. During the past months, I have repeatedly said that there are hardly any new assets for expeditions part of the game files. In fact, most things data miners discovered with the last couple of updates were just visual widgets. You know, things like interfaces, menus, icons, banners, and Vault Boy cartoons. So, where's the rest? Well, as you can imagine, it's in Bethesda's internal databases. Until this point, we had no official statement on this matter, but now we do. Steve recently confirmed that the internal playtest has already begun, and the team is now focused on polishing the new content based on what they playtest. In another statement, he also said the Pitt will deliver something very new and fresh to the 76 world. Now, what about us? When can we playtest the first expedition? Soon. Probably this summer, so very, very soon. Yep, as I just mentioned, the public test for the Pitt Expedition has been confirmed. As to be expected, there is no date yet, but then again, Bethesda rarely give us dates for PTS openings. One thing is for sure though, the Pitt public test is going to happen, it's a given fact. So something else to be excited about. Anyway, besides this revelation by Steve, he also stated that a new trailer is going to get released for Expeditions The Pitt, which was to be expected. I mean, the last trailer was released a very long time ago, and it barely told us anything useful. So this is definitely a great opportunity for them to show more and hype the fan base about what's to come, which seems to be a lot. And not just a lot, it seems to be quality and quantity both at once, and that's really, really good. So they shouldn't waste this opportunity. The Pitt Expeditions is certainly starting to look like a round-up exciting experience. Right now it feels like Bethesda is working around a mini-map sort of experience with a little bit of everything feature-wise, from missions to lore, new locations, new NPCs, factions, rewards, even a new boss, and possibly a new currency. Well, you name it. I think there's really a lot coming. And unlike previous major features like Fallout Worlds or Daily Ops, I think Expeditions will be a major hit. It has everything to get there at least. The concept surely has potential, but now let's see how the execution is done. Anyway, that's it for this one. I did my best to organize over 20 developer codes into 12 common points. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more. I have another batch of dev codes in the works right now. I am Marta Branco. Thanks for watching. Consider leaving a like and subscribe to help the channel out. As per usual, a huge shout out to all my members and patrons, and I will see you all very, very soon in the next one. Until then, take care. Adios. Bye bye.